list. Two Aarons. I like that. I'm going to add another quarterback on here, though, because we're lacking quarterbacks representation. Let's go with Patrick Mahomes.
Ooh.
Fair one.
And before
Shots
you get
fired.
disappointed,
It's not my second.
just listen to it.
I got nothing.
Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to start by saying this. I believe in you.
Oh, that's good.
I've always believed in you. You may not feel that way because I sit next to
What do I got to?
that guy, so I don't get to gloat about you all the time, but this season there's really been nothing to gloat about. Like, all we've been hearing is about how you're throwing interceptions. This is the second time in your career that you've, through your first 6 games, you've had 8 interceptions. The previous time, the reason why we didn't talk about it that much, because you had 18 touchdowns or something like that. And you only got 6 touchdowns. You gotta start putting the ball in the end zone through the air. Back to back, no passing touchdown games. That's only happened one other time in your career. This year and in 2021, week 11 and 12 against Dallas and Denver. And you know who you played the following week? The Raiders. And you went to work. So I'm expecting you to go to work, get back into the saddle, and get it done. You got a new number 1 receiver. Welcome him with throwing him passes that he can catch, not passes that he has to try to knock down from a defender. Wow. Patrick Mahomes, I really believe in you, man. Look, you've been special on third downs. You've been special extending plays and being clutch in situational football. And you've been special in the last 2 years in game 7s, meaning game number 7 for your team, you've been really good. In 2022, 424 yards, 4 touchdowns, 129 passer rating. Last year, 423 yards against the 49ers, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. I know you're going to bounce back. And there's a little something that's on the line. It's called perfection.
Wow.
There's only one that we really believe that can get it done right now in our league, and that's you, buddy.
Wow.
Even though I don't talk about it,
Thanks, Craig.
you can get it done. Don't be the reason why you guys slip up.
Wow.
Patrick, I believe in you.
Good work. Good work. Very motivational. You could probably say that about any week with Mahomes. You're great in week 11s. You're
Yeah.
great in week 4s. But that was great. Good
The
motivation.
400 yards is something else. All right.
Okay. Patrick Mahomes on the Bud list. Okay. I mean, it's so hard to say that he should be under duress, quite frankly. I don't think so. I think if the Chiefs were to have a bad game, which I don't think they will, you know, they're playing the Raiders, are favored by 10, and now they do got Hopkins. I think if Patrick Mahomes himself played really poorly, right, like it would be an unfortunate time for him to have a really bad game or the Chiefs to lay an egg, right? Not unlike what happened to last year. Considering how this season has unfolded, how the Raiders have been playing, right? There is no boost of new coach and all that. If anything, they're going in the opposite direction of what they were last year. And then if Patrick Mahomes then plays poorly, it would just kind of continue this storyline of what's wrong with Mahomes. But it seems like the media as a whole is divided. If anything, they lean more towards positive than negative towards Mahomes in terms of like, is it a problem? What's happening? Right? The whole thing has been, no, it's just the fact that he doesn't have anyone to throw to. And then so if you add Hopkins and then you still struggle, or you have like a really bad game or more interceptions, right? People will see it potentially more as like a fundamental problem. But like, I don't think Mahomes is really under any of that scrutiny unless he starts costing them games, quite frankly. Because right, Patrick Mahomes is at the level where all of his career accolades at this point are not regular season accolades, right? It's just how many Super Bowls do you win? It's not even like how he plays in the Super Bowl or how he plays in the playoffs, honestly. he's reached the level where it's just, how many Super Bowls do you have? I mean, nobody remembers what Tom Brady did in 2002 AFC Championship game. Whatever year. I'm making up a year. Whatever year. No one remembers. Oh, he had a game-winning drive. No one remembers. But they know how many Super Bowls he has, right? People remember like two moments from Michael Jordan's career, right? Really, the one, like the biggest one is when he, has his one move that he does where he kind of, pulls a defender away from him and step back and makes a shot, right? Outside of that, like, you have the one move where he kind of switches hands midair, but it's just like, you don't really remember a lot of all these moments. A flu game, maybe. So again, there's some moments, but it's how many rings does he have, right? How many trophies? Like, when you're GOAT status, that's what's remembered. It's a few singular moments, but for the most part, the people's memories and discussions are all dominated by how many rings do you have, right? So that is where Mahomes is. Now, I'm on the record saying, obviously, many times that, like, he deserves to be criticized and held to a high standard for his poor play. But in terms of under duress, like, only if he's causing them to lose. Like, if they were losing, if they lost like 2 games this season or 3 games and he was playing this poorly, then yes, I would say under duress. But they haven't, obviously. So then it's different. And then, no, when he says Patrick's chasing perfection, I don't know if is he saying like, because he didn't really say this outright, but is he saying like a undefeated season? Because the way how this was phrasing, the way how he talked, because he was just talking about playing like, I expect you to play a big game versus the Raiders and this or that, but then it says Patrick's chasing perfection. So I was a little confused by that, quite frankly. But the reality is that this game probably shouldn't really be all that competitive. I am really curious to see how quickly Hopkins and Patrick Mahomes can get on this level, how Andy Reid integrates him. I'm sure Andy Reid being Andy Reid won't make it too complicated, so I can imagine them getting comfortable a lot sooner than later, because that's what we see with all these other guys that come in, right? Whether it's Kareem Hunt, whether it's Juju, no matter who it is, like, these guys get added and they're like instantly successful, right? That's the magician of Andy. So and if someone's open, Patrick will also, he's not going to miss you either. So this is actually kind of like the perfect game for the Chiefs to have, to kind of get comfortable with Hopkins, try some stuff out. And it's hard to imagine where the Raiders are right now, both offensively and defensively, that they're going to be able to offer any type of surprise where you're like, whoa, I can't believe the Raiders just beat the Chiefs or something, right? Like, I just, it's just hard for me to see at this level, even with the Chiefs offense not looking that good, right? It's just, I'm just not seeing it. So yeah, under duress just seems a little bit, too extreme for me. I think if anything, it would be like under suspicion or something, to be like, all right, Patrick Mahomes has definitely not been playing good these first handful of weeks. Let's keep our eyes out on that. Let's see if he continues. Now that they add Hopkins, what does he look like? Do his turnovers go down? Like, does his touchdowns go up, right? Like, those are the things that you want to be looking for, and at least that's where I'm at with Patrick Mahomes. So interesting game. I hope it's kind of competitive. I hope it's fun. Blowouts to me aren't fun, no matter who you're rooting for, unless they're spectacular blowouts where, like, they're like, when you're playing a bad team like the Raiders, like, I think it's more fun if when you were playing like the Lions versus the Cowboys, right? Because a lot of people think that the Cowboys could do stuff, or even the Ravens versus the Bills, right? A lot of people are high on the Bills. Like, nobody's high on the Raiders, so it's like a blowout versus the Panthers, right? Versus the Jags. It's just like, okay, it's just kind of boring. So from an entertainment standpoint, I hope it's competitive, right? I want to see fun, exciting games. I don't like blowouts personally, but I just can't imagine in any stretch of the imagination the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, for that matter, even remotely struggling. But you know what? What's his face? The head coach of the Raiders said that they figured out the Chiefs, that they solved it, that they showed the world how to stop the Kansas City Chiefs. So we'll see how actually accurate that ends up being, I won't hold my breath. My guess is a resounding 1000% no. No, I wouldn't be surprised if this game does end up looking like how these other games looked versus the Panthers, the Jags, games like that, and less so like a bad team that's not doing well, like the Rams, where it's like, okay, the Rams are losing games, but they, it's 21-17 or something. Like, I can see this game being like 35-10 or something, maybe not even that, honestly. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Patrick Mahomes being on the Bud list, according to Greg? And Nick just kind of nodding along. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.